Forever. Show me sister, show me brother, and we stay strong for one another. Come on, come on, come on, come on, yeah! Come on, come on. We could be leaders of the islands. You don't save petrol from a can. You put the petrol in the high stage. Don't be rama-rama, messing with your brain. You say you're deadly, do you understand? You don't need petrol for a can. You put the petrol in the car it goes. Don't be rama-rama, slipping up your nose. Don't be rama, 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 don't be rama. Love your friends, protect your family. They are with you when you are lonely. Don't bandera, don't bandera. When you stop, your brains will be clear. Come on, come on, come on, come on, yeah! Come on, come on. We could be leaders of the islands. You don't save petrol from a can. You put the petrol in the high stage. Don't be rama-rama, messing with your brain. You say you're deadly, do you understand? You don't need petrol for a can. You put the petrol in the car it goes. Don't be rama-rama, sniffing up your nose.
You not deadly, you rama-rama. Gonna get caught like Dylan Osama.
Yeah, yeah, I tell you, 'cause I care, yeah, I tell you.
When I was smoking in that bed, see the boys and girls are sniffing too much petrol, killing your brains.
We could be leaders of the islands. You don't save petrol from a can. You put the petrol in the high stage. Don't be rama-rama, messing with your brain. You say you're deadly, do you understand? You don't need petrol from a can. You put the petrol in the car it goes. Don't be rama-rama, slipping up your nose. Use your brains, think about your culture.
Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the culprit. Find who's find. That's the first. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the culprit. Find who's find. That's the first. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first.
Well, good afternoon, chat. What a lovely day it is. What a lovely day for a purging. Oh boy, it's exciting, isn't it? Can you smell the despair that's in the air as the adpocalypse settles down once more upon our beautiful little land of YouTube. This cute little fiefdom, our little vlogger empire, descends once more into chaos, brought about because a sassy gay man at a news outlet and a sassier gay man who does a podcast decided to have a little bit of a slap fight on social media. And now everybody's ducking for cover. I know a lot of people have been watching as the news has developed today and kind of over the last few days. A lot of people kind of laying low, don't want to say anything, don't want to speak up and draw attention to themselves. But that's not any fun. What's the point of that? You're afraid to say something because you might get a banhammer dropped on you. What's the point of saying anything at all in the first place? You know, I've been on the internet a long time. A lot of people have. And I've watched its transformation throughout the decades. Starting off as kind of a hobbyist and enthusiast space for the nerdy motherfuckers that never bathed. Fat, obese nerds sitting at their computer kits. Dirty, disgusting people going onto their news groups and their bulletin boards talking about nerdy shit nobody cared about. And then, of course, in the 90s came AOL, and everybody and their grandmother was on the fucking internet. But still, it was a bit exclusive. Grandma didn't really understand much about it, never really left that AOL homepage. And all the grandkids, they were busy in the, chat room saying horrible things and thinking that was the most epic shit ever. And that persisted for a while. But then a more modern era of the internet kind of came into being. Wild West. Numerous websites out there. Started to get larger ones people would congregate at, like Something Awful back in the, 1999, 2000? I mean, Jesus Christ, that's been 20 years. Oh, God, how old is Lotex? Shit, man. God damn. It's been a while. And of course, from an essay goon, you got 4chan. And kind of just evolved from there. And for quite some time, it was pretty fun. Using the internet was a joy to use. There's nothing like arguing with retards on the internet. I mean, it's a fun hobby to have, whether it's a image board or a forum. Whatever avenue you decide to take, it's entertaining. It's something people enjoy. Nice way to vent. Get a little bit of the stress out of your life going online and talking about dumb, nerdy shit or arguing with people about dumb, nerdy shit. We all kind of enjoyed it. And then mid-2000s, things started to change. Here come the video sharing platforms. You've got your blog TVs and you've got your early YouTube. Everybody thought that was a novelty. How interesting is that? I can put up videos. Nobody really knew what to do. Your little 4x3 box of 144p talking about shit to an audience of maybe 10 people. But it was fun. But boy, that monetization came and things changed. You can make a buck now. You can make a living doing it. Everybody was really interested in it. Started a whole cottage industry of kids growing up and not wanting to be astronauts or firemen or policemen, but wanting to be fucking YouTubers. I've made a lot of jokes about that, and I stay by most of those jokes. They apply to me too. I mean, I've got a Patreon. I've got superchats on. All the shit I flung, you can fling right back at me. But it had an impact. Now here we are in a more modern era, and things are devolving, and rapidly so. Over the past 3 to 4 years, we've seen censorship sweep across the internet in a myriad of different forms. And, the clock's running out. The good old days are coming to a close. I've talked about this multiple times before. I've talked about it on live streams. I've made videos about it. I've talked until I was blue in the face, and what's the point of talking about it anymore? But I feel like this might be getting close to the last hurrah. So let's have the conversation for the very last time. And just look at what's happened in the past 5 years when it comes to expressing yourself on the internet. And that expression can take different forms. That could be you shitposting on an anonymous account on social media. That could be you trying to make a living and monetizing your content, trying to become some alt news service, or some skeptic YouTuber, whatever dumb gay shit you might be into. Maybe that's your thing, that's what you do. Maybe you run a blog. Maybe, I don't know what it is. But you've got all these people, all these different avenues of expressing themselves. And slowly, little by little, they've been whittled away. Now, I still hold true to the idea that 2016 was a real turning point. I think a lot of these large social media companies, a lot of these tech companies, a lot of these Silicon Valley folks weren't really giving shit posters on the internet their due. They were looking at them as a non-issue. They didn't understand how social media and just different websites could amplify a message. So they see this candidate, they see this Donald Trump. He's run before, he's not really a threat to anybody. He said some funny shit and all the shit posters seem to like him, but who cares? He's not dangerous. They're not dangerous. You know, these Silicon Valley folks, these San Franciscoites, whatever the term would be, they run things. They're in control. They've got that shit under lock and key. What are you going to do about it? And so they didn't pay it the attention they probably should have. Because they fucking hate Donald Trump. They don't like conservatism. They don't like right-wing really anything, to be honest with you. They have their own message, their own narrative, their own biases. But they didn't see it as a real threat. Fast forward to election night, and holy shit, Orange Man won. And I will tell you that I think election night was a moment that is probably defined crystal clear in their memories and will be historic to them for the rest of their lives. Because to them, personally, it was a failure on their part, and they will never fucking let that happen again. And you really have to understand this going forward when we start talking about this stuff. When we're talking about the Twitters and the Facebooks and the Googles and the Alphabets and the YouTubes. They fucked up. And they know they fucked up. And they will never let that happen again. And so after that election, you started to see things kind of amplify. Before that, we had people talk about censorship and getting rid of trolls online, but it mostly focused on the concept of bullying. You know, people being dicks to each other. I wanted to clean that up a little bit. But things changed after the election. Suddenly there was a purpose behind the censorship. Suddenly there was a purpose behind what they were doing. And so what did we see happen? Well, we saw it gradually happen. And we saw it happen on the very outer edges, the very extremities of the internet. The extreme. We're talking Mountain Dew, fucking snowboarding, 360 extreme, my dudes. Areas of the internet. Well, the Daily Stormer, that's a terrible... Oh my god, Andrew Anglin's the fucking devil. We need to unperson him. Oh, and they went about unpersoning Andrew Anglin in a way you would not believe. They took away his fucking everything. He's not allowed to have a website. He's not allowed to have DDoS protection. He's not allowed to have funding. And nobody really said anything. Because they were assured, they were promised, this is just a unique case. Andrew Anglin is just an extremist. He says all this horrible shit. We need to get rid of him. Everybody was copacetic with that. Some people raised their voices, but not a lot did. And then what happens? Well, it stops being just the extreme cases, doesn't it? Now we're going to look at maybe alternative media. Well, my God, Gab, have you seen what they post on Gab? Some horrendous things. We need to do something about that. They need to be dealt with. Let's take away their servers. Let's take away their payments. Let's just cut them off at their knees. Gut them so they don't have a chance to compete. And again, people were like, well, that is kind of shitty, but okay. And so they kind of reeled it in a little bit more. Well, look at this Alex Jones character. He sells you donkey semen and tells you it will open your pineal gland and you'll be able to fight gay frogs off for the reptilian invasion that's coming. More people started to pay a little bit more attention at that point because Alex, we need to take away his payment options. We need to take away his platforms, his social media, his YouTube, everything. We need to contain him and to quarantine him in an area of the internet where he can't be effective, where people can't watch him easily. But every step of the way, they started targeting more and more things until you kind of find yourself in the situation you're looking at now, where Facebook and their CEO is talking to people in the European Union and people like Angela Merkel about instituting new hate speech policies that apply worldwide on Facebook for what you can and cannot post, for what and how you're dealt with when you break the rules. We all know what's been going on with Twitter. I mean, can you, if you try to compare it to what it used to be like just 6 or 7 years ago to what it's like today, it's night and day. You can't shitpost on Twitter anymore. Try calling somebody a faggot and see how quickly your account disappears. Oh, but that's hate speech. You can't say that. Have we become this sensitive in this day and age where you can't shit talk anybody anymore without being automatically banned and removed from the internet? And now we're at the stage of YouTube, where we're on the third iteration of an adpocalypse. And I brought this up in a video, and I think it still applies, where it's the 3Ds. They want to deplatform you, deperson you, and demonetize you. They want to make it impossible for you to have any motivation to say what you want to say, to communicate with other people that think the things that you think, to express yourself in a way that runs counter to what they want you to express. They'll take away your funding. They'll take away your PayPal account and your Patreon, and maybe, God forbid, your bank account, like what happened to a person that was involved in the Proud Boys. His actual bank took away his checking account, which you would think would be highly illegal, but they did it nonetheless. They're going to deplatform you. They're going to remove you from social media. They're going to talk to each other. We found this out when the James Damore thing happened, where he had showed conversations between different people at different tech companies talking about how they communicate and pass names back and forth. Hey, we at Facebook got rid of this guy. So somebody at Twitter says, we'll get rid of him too. Somebody over at Alphabet passes the message down to YouTube and says, you should get rid of him as well. And they're just taken away, leading to them being essentially depersoned. You don't exist anymore. You have no more outlet to speak. You have no more outlet to say anything. It's crazy when you look at where we are right now, where you look at the state of the internet as it exists right now, and how things function for anybody that wants to have fun or to make money in some meaningful way. It's just gone tits up. It's gone full tilt, and it's completely insane when you look at the state of things as they are now. And how do you fight back? Realistically, I'm asking you this, chat, as you watch and listen to this. What do you think you're going to do? I mean, here's the ingeniousness, the diabolical malfeasance behind what they're doing. And these Machiavellian masterminds. They remove you from the main sources of communication. See, if you want to spread a message, you don't really want to spread that message to people that are already aware of what you're talking about, because it has no impact. Two people sitting in the same room agreeing with each other doesn't really accomplish shit. You want to be able to give that message to somebody that's completely unaware of what you're talking about. You want to win them over to what you're saying. You want to show them, hey, there's some fucked up shit going on right now. Maybe you might want to pay attention. And where's the best place to do that? Well, this is the age of Web 2.0. It's social media. That's where you go to do it. But all these different companies have decided you're not going to be able to use social media to do it. So you look at what's going on right now with this kind of censorship wave after censorship wave that's taking place. And you can't use Twitter to get your message out, you're banned. Can't use Facebook, you're banned. Can't use YouTube, you're banned. So what mainstream avenue do you have when it comes to social media or outreach to get your message out there? Well, those are stripped away from you. Now you've got to go to an alternate site. You've got to find something like a Gab. Well, again, that's you're sitting in the same room talking to people that agree with you. Maybe you're going to go to a forum or a more traditional website. Good luck doing that on Reddit. You'll be instantly removed from the platform. Maybe you'll go to 4chan. I mean, 4chan, you can say whatever the fuck you want, right? They're hurting you. They're hurting you right now into quarantine sites and giving you the illusion that you still have an impact and a voice. But as you sit there repeating your message to other people that agree with your message, that message doesn't leave your domain. It's stuck. It's artificially held where it is. There's no outreach to it. There's no way to amplify it or to spread it. And that's how this works. They've instituted little policies here and there, inching their way towards what they want. I mean, if you want to fuck somebody over, if you want to really screw the world up, you don't do it in a dramatic fashion instantly. You do it very methodically. You do it very slowly over an extended period of time. That's the most effective approach to doing it. People are generally lazy. I am, you are, we all are. We like to take the path of least resistance. And so when those changes are gradual and small and incremental, we don't get our hackles up. we don't get fucked up about it as much as we probably should get fucked up about it. And so we allow it to happen. We become very passive about it. And, inch by inch, little by little, they all add up. Until finally, what you're looking at is that big, explosive change does happen. But it just happened over an extended period. And the chance you had to say something is past. It's over. Because the change already took place. You need to understand going forward that the impact you might have had on previous elections, regardless of the country that you're in, that's done. That doesn't exist anymore. They understand what happened in 2016. They don't want that to ever happen again. I think it's highly politically motivated. And I think that, frankly, they are laying the groundwork, again, slowly. They've been doing it, seeding it little by little, to make it so when the next big election cycle comes up, there aren't a bunch of people with fucking frog avatars on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube talking about coughing fits pants of shit. You don't exist anymore. Your message doesn't get out there. If you were to go, I think a great example of this, think of an obnoxious hashtag that pops up, especially on something like Twitter, where it's just something that's so fucking mockable, where it's something that you would laugh at and make jokes about. And then go click on it and really take a look at what you're dealing with. How many times do you think you're going to find those jokes anymore? I'll tell you what you're going to find instead. You're going to find blue check marks who are going to be saying the opposite of anything that would be considered funny or controversial or edgy or interesting or different. Those days, they're done. Twitter is radically transformed from what it used to be. YouTube is radically transformed from what it used to be. Facebook is radically transformed from what it used to be. People say it's a black pill when you talk about things like this. It's such a downer, Jim. That's the fucking reality. I mean, that's the truth. What do you want? I can't sugarcoat it for you. Should I lie to you and tell you it's going to be okay? Charge you $20 for a t-shirt? Glad hand you and send you on your way? No. Things are fucked up. You're dealing with a censorship wave that is probably the death knell of the internet. I don't have any solutions for you. I don't have some grand vision of how you're going to fix that. But you're seeing it happen. And what we're seeing happen specifically today and over the last few days is just, it's another vector, it's another factor, it's another avenue of that. So Steven Crowder gets into an argument with a Vox journalist, Carlos Maza, I believe. And, let me just say first off, this guy planned this. All right. He wanted the most leverage he could get for his little slap fight by waiting for Gay Pride Month. June is LGBT barbecue month. So what better time to go after somebody that you're upset with than that month and to make a public tantrum about it? So he decides to go after Crowder. And YouTube, surprisingly, doesn't initially side with him. They actually kind of blow it off. For whatever reason, and this is really bizarre to me, and I can't honestly explain it to you. But over the last month, over the last 2 months, really, YouTube has been acting different than what I would have expected. It started with their flagging system. Before, when you had an account, you get 3 strikes and then you were done. And that first strike would fuck you. It would fuck you right out of live streaming. It would fuck you out of a bunch of stuff for about 90 days. And then without any real publicity or talking about it at all, YouTube decides, hey, you know what, fuck it, we were wrong about this. We're going to radically alter our entire system. We're going to give you a warning first where there are no consequences. Even more than that, with your first strike, you only get a week ding. So if you get a strike on your account after that initial warning and you want to live stream, you only have to wait a week. You got 2 strikes, 2 weeks. And then the 3rd strike, your account gets closed. Now, I have no idea why YouTube would do that. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm also massively surprised that they wouldn't have tried to be more public about that. You'd think it would have generated goodwill. And then the situation with this journalist happens, and they actually sided with Crowder right away. I mean, it was really bizarre. Again, contrary to what you would think they'd be doing. But this guy, this sneaky little motherfucker, he knew how to play the game. The PR game. get that message out there, package it in a way that's going to have the biggest, broadest appeal, and then just hammer the motherfuckers with it until he gets what he wants. And so YouTube buckled, and they took away his monetization. But the thing is, it wasn't just Crowder that lost his monetization. It wasn't just Crowder that had videos removed or had his account removed. It was a ton of people. So we're going to look over this slap fight. We're going to look over the people that got affected for whatever reason, because there are numerous people that got fucked. And this isn't just about a loss of revenue. It's about a loss of their fucking channels, or about being able to put up videos. And some of these people aren't political. They just make fucking jokes. I mean, we're reaching a point where you can't make jokes on this platform anymore, where you've got to word them in such a way so it's the least offensive to the most people. Which, if you know anything about comedy, should tell you that's the worst approach you can take. When something's the least offensive that it can be, it's also the least funny that it can be. So let's take a look at some of the damage that's been going on, as our little friend Carlos decided to start a fucking slap fight. Right now on Twitter. And I know Steven Crowder is doing a live stream right now. Maybe that's what you want to watch. If you want to, go take a look. I hear he's got details about things that are going on. Maybe he's got more information. Right now on Twitter, they've got the Vox Adpocalypse, which is the hashtag that it's under at 33,000 tweets. We'll see how long that one lasts before it goes tits up. Carlos Maza. That's who I'm looking for. God. It gets tiring, I think, after a while. Doesn't it? You know, I remember there used to be a time on the internet where you could just fucking make fun of people. God, that was great. God, it was great to be able to laugh at idiots. That's gone. You can't really do that anymore. Because no matter who you're making fun of, they're going to find some reason to claim they're a protected class, and that the reason you're making fun of them is specifically that. There's going to be a day, probably in the next couple of years, where you can't say that a furry that fucks dogs is a degenerate and make jokes about that, or even statements about that. That'll be taken away from you. They'll make that a fucking protective class. You can't tell me not to fuck my husky. That's against my rights. YouTube ban him. That's where we're going. God, what the fuck? Who's at the wheel on this bad boy? This shit's out of control. I hate talking about this shit. I've talked about this shit so fucking much. I just want to laugh at retards. But even that's being stolen from me. You know how just angering that is? Depressing it is? I just want to laugh at stupid shit on the internet. And we've reached the point where that's almost going to become impossible. Where it has nothing to do with fucking politics. Nothing to do with PC versus anti-PC. You just can't even crack a fucking joke anymore. They're going to take that away from you. It's just going to be some sanitized shithole Disney fucking attraction with car commercials shoved up your ass. That's going to be the future of the internet. Sanitized, whitewashed shithole that nobody enjoys. Where you're lucky if you can get a fucking score to your sports game without being told what a terrible person you are. Oh, you rooted for the Red Sox? What are you, a racist? God almighty. And this guy is such a piece of work. This Carlos Maza guy. You ever met a motherfucker that's just not satisfied? I want you to think back to when you were in school. Probably elementary school is going to be the best example for you. You ever do something? Do something that was wrong in the classroom? Maybe told a racy joke? I don't know, flicked a fucking rubber band at somebody's face because you thought it was funny? And there was that one kid in the class, you know, that one tattletale motherfucker that nobody liked, who would run to teacher immediately and say, "Oh my God, did you see what Anon just did? He said a horrible thing. He flicked that rubber band right at that motherfucker's face." That's who Carlos Maza is. And he's that kid to a T. Even worse than that. Not only does he want to tattle on you to the teacher, he's not satisfied with his tattling. His tattling hasn't been devastating enough, so he wants to make sure just as much damage as can be done happens. So I'm going to, give me a second here while I scroll down to where this shit show starts. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the people affected. We'll see the way he went about this by making just massive public statements and crying about this, about going against anybody and everybody that would dare say, boy, Carlos, you're a fucking idiot. he tweeted out like 1,000. He cries about being bullied. Somebody send him a copy of Tyler the Creator's tweet. Cyberbullying, what the fuck are you talking about? And turn your computer off. Oh, it's got all the fucking buzzwords in there. Toxicity. Just all that shit. Alright. God, I'm sorry this is taking a little longer than I expected. You have to understand. This dude has whined to YouTube for like a week straight. And he has not stopped crying to YouTube. Demanding that Steven Crowder, the most milquetoast, fucking cookie cutter conservative, just be destroyed. So let's find out where this starts precisely. Yeah, there we go. I think it's June or right at the end. Okay. Yeah, here we go. So I have a pretty thick skin. Oh, do you, Carlos? Do you have a pretty thick skin? Okay, let me show you the guy that's fucking everybody over on YouTube at this specific moment. Our Vox journalist. Let's just read what he had to say. This fucking dude. I think this should bring it up. Yep, there we go. Okay, this is Carlos Maza. Otherwise known as Gay Wonk. So I have a pretty thick skin when it comes to online harassment. But something's been really bothering me. Since I started working at Vox, Steven Crowder has been making video after video, debunking, strike through. Every single video has included repeated overt attacks on my sexual orientation and ethnicity. Here's a sample. Let's take a look at the sample of the brutal abuse that Carlos Maza has been suffering.
Before we get to the video, with our favorite lispy sprite from Vox. It's ridiculous. It's bonkers. You're being given a free pass as a crappy writer because you're gay.
That center line on his little queer graph there. What is
Well,
that
now
line?
the graph is queer?
Violence, filth.
Okay, so the little queer could eat his chips all nonchalantly. It's code for rape, Mr. Queer eating chips on the Vox channel. Chip, 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 but you can eat just one. Like dicks. This is what Mr. Gay Vox wants to do. Mr. Lispy Queer from Vox. What were you holding, Gay Latino from Vox? Even his hand movement in fast motion is gay. Now we're here with the short-haired angry lesbian on Skype. And cable news bitching. Two gay guys sitting there eating a banana. We get the symbolism there. The truth is...
So there you go, chat. Just to bring you up to speed, that's the horrible abuse. He said he has a lispy voice and called him gay, which, surprisingly, I think maybe the guy whose handle is Gay Wonk might actually be gay, and he kind of does have a lispy voice. It's not like Crowder made up some stereotype about a gay dude who's got a lisp. Carlos actually does have that. He's got a little bit of a lisp to him. I'm sure I put a target on my head by daring to say Lispy Carlos sounds lispy. But let's move on. I've been called an anchor baby, a lispy queer, a Mexican, etc. Okay, these videos get millions of views on YouTube. Every time one gets posted, I wake up to a wall of homophobic racist abuse on Instagram and Twitter. Last year I got doxxed, and it scared the fuck out of me. My phone was bombarded with hundreds of texts at the exact same time. The messages? Look at these terrible. Debate Steven Crowder. How will he live? Oh, somebody call witness protection. Carlos Maza has been asked to debate Steven Crowder. I weep for him. These videos make me a target of ridiculous harassment, and it makes life sort of miserable. I waste a lot of time blocking abusive Crowder fanboys, and this shit derails your mental health. That being said, I'm not mad at Crowder. Boy, is that a lie. There will always be monsters in the world. I'm fucking pissed at YouTube, which claims to support, here we go, its LGBT creators and has explicit policies against harassment and bullying. Notice the timing of this. This is the avenue, this is the vector he's going to attack Crowder at. You know, talking about how this is a threat to LGBT creators, right before LGBT Pride Month begins. He's setting it up. He's getting it ready. He really wants to have as much impact as he can. This has been going on for years, and I've tried to flag this shit on several occasions. It's journalists, by the way, folks. But YouTube is never going to actually enforce its policies because Crowder has 3 million subscribers, and enforcing their rules would get them accused of an anti-conservative bias. Which is all I have to say. I work my fucking ass off to create smart, thorough, engaging content for YouTube, a company which claims to give a shit about LGBT creators. And it's miserable to have that same company help facilitate a truly mind-melting amount of direct harassment. Our poor boy here. My family sees this shit. I've had to explain to my much younger sister what the fuck a Steven Crowder is, and ask my siblings not to respond. It's exhausting. I wish YouTube gave enough of a shit to stop its... Do you notice the amount of fucking tweets? Do you see this shit? This is all one thread. One thread about this. Tagging in YouTube multiple times. YouTube does not give a fuck about queer creators. YouTube does not give a fuck about marginalized creators. YouTube does not give a fuck about diversity or inclusion. YouTube wants clicks, clicks, clicks. I have to disagree. Anybody that's watched the god-awful YouTube Rewind, that's nothing but diversity being shoved up your ass. What are you talking about, Carlos? Harassment isn't siloed either. Every time he makes one of these videos, his fans flood the comments on the original Vox video. So a piece I spent 4 weeks working on is drowning in homophobic and abusive comments and downvotes. Other Vox fans see it. It's humiliating. So he's upset that he makes videos that get made fun of. And that Steven Crowder decided to make fun of his stupid fucking videos. And because Crowder made fun of his stupid fucking videos, he's getting downvotes and comments saying that he's an idiot. That's what's up his ass. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like being not taken seriously. I cannot explain how awful it is to see a video where you're called a lesbian queer pass 1 million views. Thousands of comments piling on. How the fuck are LGBT people expected to produce interesting content in this environment? Yeah, I know the tragic story of Steven Crowder bullying people off of YouTube. So many of them. So many broken LGBT bodies left on the roadside by Crusher Crowder, destroyer of the gays. A lot of people have pointed out that Crowder is wearing a "Socialism is for Fags" shirt in several of his videos. Turns out he sells that shirt to his YouTube fans and proudly displays it in his Twitter cover photo. What are these platforms doing? If Crowder loses his channel, I'm going to get hit with another avalanche of abuse and will likely get doxxed again. That's what's so fucked up about these platforms. They create wildly powerful monsters and then ask the targets of the abuse to draw further attention to themselves. I'd love to sit at home editing together a clip of my abuse in order to publicly beg a platform to pay attention. Love to be an adult gay person and still have my identity marked by public humiliation. Wow. You know, this reminds me of a Key and Peele skit. There's 2 dudes working in an office. And one dude, I can't remember which it was. I think it was Key, is looking at Peele and he's fucking annoyed with them. And the dude's super flamboyant. He's like, "You're just doing this because I'm gay." He's like, "No, I'm calling you out because you're an asshole. You being gay is not the primary reason that I'm calling you out. You are an asshole. That's the main reason." But Carlos is making it all about that gay identity. So this is what started it. Carlos sending 840,000 fucking tweets to YouTube, demanding that they do something about it, demanding he be deplatformed, that he have his monetization taken away. He talked about it for fucking days, talking about how much money Crowder was making, how much he was pulling in from t-shirts and YouTube ad revenue, how this was damaging to Vox. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Vox get like $200 million from, what was it, ABC or NBC to run their fucking operations? So if Carlos works for Vox and is making videos for Vox, why is he trying to make it sound like he's some independent content creator? Like he's one of the little guys. He's not one of the little guys. He's working for a fucking company that has hundreds of millions of dollars at their disposal. But he's trying to really sell it as the innocent, independent gay guy that's being harassed by big bad Steven Crowder on the internet. Holy shit. I don't know. Am I crazy, chat? Let me try to get a little interaction going here. I've been going on for a minute to see what you think. I don't know. Chat, do you find this to be disingenuous? I do. I think Carlos Maza has been very precise in his messaging and his timing of his messaging. I think he's trying to go for maximum damage and maximum impact because people made fun of his ass. He talks about being thick-skinned, but he can't handle being made fun of. That's really at the core of this. Steven Crowder made fun of him. And lots of people, for whatever reason, liked the video making fun of him. And he can't fucking handle it. So he wants this dude fucking destroyed. Seen a lot of honks in the chat. Somebody said $400 million. I'm not sure how much Vox has, but I'm fairly certain they're funded fairly well to do their shit. Yes, he's definitely vindictive. I will agree with you on that, chat. So they write, they coordinate their articles too. I think this one is from yesterday. Yeah, let's put this up. Okay, you need to understand. Carlos makes his statement. Oh my God, Crowder's so terrible. Gay Pride Month begins, and then you start getting articles from companies like The Verge and others. So let's just take a look at one of the articles. This is one that Carlos was promoting, just to see what the coverage looks like. YouTube decides that homophobic harassment does not violate its policies. The company sides with edgy commentator Steven Crowder. YouTube has at last formally responded to explosive and controversial feud. Get over yourself. Couple of fucking idiots on the internet. The explosive and controversial feud between Vox writer and video host Carlos Maza and conservative YouTuber Steven Crowder. The verdict: YouTube says Crowder did not violate any of its policies, and that Crowder's YouTube channel will stay up, despite his repeated homophobic slurs directed at Maza in videos posted to YouTube. Crowder has routinely, over the course of years, made derogatory and mocking remarks about Maza's sexuality and ethnicity, making videos attempting to debunk the Vox video series Strike Through. Crowder likened his remarks to jokes, calling them harmless ribbing in a response video earlier this week. They really are pissed about this t-shirt shit, by the way. Crowder also sells a t-shirt on his website. Oh, well, that's something I've never heard of. I love how they act like merchandising is some new thing. I knew there's this dude, he's dead now, but there was this dude, Helsing920, back in like 2006, when nobody gave a shit about YouTube. This motherfucker was selling clocks with his face on it. Stop acting like Crowder selling t-shirts is some amazing fucking thing you've never heard of. After days of silence, YouTube now says it doesn't think Crowder's homophobic and racist slurs, including Crowder calling Maza a lesbian queer and a gay Mexican, qualify as harassment. Notably, the company did not mention the phrase hate speech, indicating it does not classify Crowder's homophobic mockery as such. Our team spent the last few days conducting an in-depth review of the videos flagged to us. While we found language that was clearly hurtful, the videos as posted don't violate our policies. An open platform is crucial for us to allow everyone from creators to journalists to late-night TV hosts to express their opinions within the scope of our policies. Opinions can be deeply offensive, but if they don't violate our policies, they'll remain on our site. I believe this is their... Let me see if this is their tweet chain. Yes, this is. This is their response. Basically, they listened to what this guy had to say. They took about 4 or 5 days, and they said, not really a big fucking deal. Maybe you should calm the fuck down, dude. He called you a lesbian queer, get over it. It's a fucking joke. In response, Maza said he was stunned by YouTube's verdict. On Twitter, he wrote, I don't know what to say. YouTube has decided not to punish him. After 2 years of harassing me for being a gay Latino. Okay, so how is what Crowder said, if you're self-identifying as a gay Latino, if he calls you a gay Mexican, what's the harassment, Maza? I don't know what to say. To be crystal clear, YouTube has decided that targeted racist and homophobic harassment does not violate its policies against hate speech or harassment. That's absolutely batshit policy that gives the bigots free license. He also pointed out hypocrisy. See, here we go. Celebrating LGBT Pride Month. Again, he was very specific about picking his moment. So, at first YouTube didn't really give a shit. They actually sided with Crowder. Again, contrary to what you would expect them to do. But Maza would not let it go. Had to keep fucking pushing it. Had to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Until finally YouTube buckled. And they took away his fucking monetization. But more than that. Because they got so much shit from Maza and his cohorts in the journalistic realm, they implemented brand new policies. In fact, if you go to your YouTube channel and look at uploads, if you go into your creator studio, you're probably going to see the new policies that are up. So let's take a look at the new revised hate speech policy. Let's take a look at this. I'll just read it to you. Why not? While we've always had policies that prohibited hate speech on YouTube, on June 5th, again, that's right after all this shit, we announced some changes to our hate speech policies. You can learn more about those changes here. Hate speech is not allowed on YouTube. We will remove contents promoting violence or hatred against individuals or groups based on the following attributes. So here you go, folks. You can't joke about this anymore. Here's your list of shit you can't talk about. Age, caste, disability, ethnicity, gender identity, nationality, race, immigration status, religion, sex and gender, sexual orientation, victims of a major violent event and their kin, veteran status. If you see content that violates this policy, report it. What this means for you. If you're posting content, don't post content on YouTube if the purpose of that content is to do one or more of the following. Encourage violence against individuals or groups based on any of the attributes noted above. Incite hatred against individuals or groups based on any of the attributes noted above. They have examples. Here's some examples of hate speech not allowed on YouTube anymore. I'm glad this violent event happened. They got what they deserved, referring to persons with the attributes noted above. Person with the attributes noted above are dogs, or person with attributes noted above are like animals. So, because I want you to understand what this means, because we have gender identity and sexual orientation, and I can't make fun of furries. We can't make fun of furries on YouTube anymore. This policy is a blanket coverage for furries. You can never say furries are like fucking animals. Furries are degenerate dogs. That's a no-no. If you say that, you're gone. If you say the following statement, furries, also known as fur fags, that go to conventions to fuck donkeys, are degenerate motherfuckers and act more like animals than human beings. You can't say that statement. That's going to get you, that's a no-no. That's not allowed. Don't say that. You need to embrace your furry brothers. What happens if you violate, or what happens if your content violates this policy? If your content violates this policy, we'll remove the content and send you an email to let you know. If this is the first time you posted the content, we'll give you a warning. And then it goes on to their new steps, their programs. Should I also mention that Carlos Maza's penis is on the internet? Why is that? Carlos, why is your dick on the internet? Why am I seeing people post pictures of your penis? What is it with the internet and people showing their dicks off? This Pro Jared thing was weird enough. Now I got people posting pictures of Carlos's dick. How did they get it? Where did his penis come from? Why is his penis floating out on the internet in the first place? And a better question, is Steven Crowder going to print it on a t-shirt and sell it for $20? Steven, could you get an outline of his penis and put it on a shirt and said, it's the little things that matter, and sell it for $20? What do you think Carlos would do in that circumstance? Do you think he'd be mad? Probably. I shouldn't make those jokes. I'm treading a careful line here that yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Carlos's cock makes Pro Jared look hung. For the people in chat that are asking. Oh. What the fuck is going on with the internet? I'll tell you guys. the age of laughing at shit is just coming to an end. But yeah, let's talk about the people that have been kicked off. Just throw fucking names out so you can see who the fuck's getting hit by this shit. Because some of it makes no sense to me. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't make any sense as to why certain individuals are getting fucked. Boogie2988. His videos, his Francis videos, he was posting on his Twitter account, demonetized. Now he's put in an appeal. I don't know what the status of that appeal is. But if you know who Boogie2988 is, he is the most inoffensive person on YouTube. He's always made fun of. Everybody gives Boogie shit for being a fence-sitting cuck. You know, the ultimate centrist. If Boogie's having his shit fucked with, we all need to be worried. We all need to be worried if that dude's having his shit fucked with. Varg Vickerson, his fucking channel's gone. Red Ice TV, he got hit. Sinatra Says, demonetized. Cog, demonetized. Just multiple people getting hit. JF Gierpe, I believe they took away his subscription feature. You know, the little membership thing that they do? They're probably going to demonetize him completely. One dude actually had his channel demonetized, and when he wrote to YouTube to find out why that happened, they wrote back and said it's because he was abusing capitalization of his titles. If you capitalize the words in your titles on your videos, demonetized, videos taken down. That's insane. That's so far past the point of rational, it's fucking bonkers. Your punctuation and grammar wasn't up to snuff. Get them off our fucking platform. What are you doing? What ridiculous shit is this? Yes, it's fucking honk, Chad. It's fucking clown world. Jesus. I don't understand it. I feel like I woke up in a different dimension. It just keeps getting fucking stupider by the minute. You know, I'll be honest with you. More than likely, my channel hasn't been affected yet, but it probably will be. You know, I'll continue posting videos as long as I can. If I can't live stream here, I don't know. Maybe I'll be forced to go over to D-Live and do my streaming over there. You know, I didn't really have much planned going forward with that, other than the E3 streams and potentially one about a crazy dude that I've been following for a little while here. I thought would have been fun. But you know, I'm not one of these guys that monetizes my YouTube videos or has relied on it as a source of needed income. But I know a lot of these. There's a lot of these fucking small channels, whether they're political or not, or they're just telling edgy jokes and they monetize their shit to make a few bucks. Just having it snatched from them, having their videos pulled down, having their comments removed, just getting deplatformed. It just, you know, happenstance, a coinky dink that a majority or a large portion of them have been political in nature. You know, Maza saying that, oh my God, oh, you know, YouTube doesn't want to be accused of having an anti-conservative bias. Well, you know, a lot of their actions seem to fall in line with that. And I don't think they've been, you know, really hiding that. We've seen Breitbart had, a leaked Google meeting after the elections where they all got into a literal hug circle and started crying because Hillary lost. You know, James Damore really should have opened people's eyes to what's going on at that company. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Shit's happening. People are getting knocked off. So I would expect this is going to hit a lot of people, especially if they're going after people doing comedy. If it's starting to move just past the point of political stuff into edgy comedy or jokes, depending on who your audience is. You know, I had a video I put up about Twitter a while back, years ago, talking about their attempt at how they shadow ban. And it was really kind of an ingenious approach. You know, they figured out if they banned you completely, or if they cut you off from everybody else, you'd notice. If it was a shadow ban like they did on Reddit, you'd fucking notice, right? But if they could instead take out the top 100 people of your audience that retweet your shit and get other people to talk about it, they've muzzled you. And they muzzled you in a way that you can't really put your finger on. So it's like you're screaming into a void and nobody's paying attention and you can't figure it out. Because other people are seeing what you're saying, not the people, though, that would spread what you're saying. And I wouldn't be surprised if YouTube has implemented something similar, where they look at where they look at these audiences, let's say a collective group of people, and they say, all right, we've got this collective group of a couple 100,000 people, and they watch this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. And those first three guys, they're political. Let's get rid of them. Well, it just leaves that last guy. He's not really political, but he appeals to this specific group, so get rid of him too. I wouldn't be surprised if they implemented a system somewhat like that. You can't even tell jokes on this fucking platform anymore. I mean, what the fuck is going on? It's crazy. Oh, and I know these people you're going to see all these fucking hashtags. I don't even know what they're going to call it. The Vox Adpocalypse, Voxgate. I'm sure they'll come up with some snazzy fucking title as people put out a shit ton of fucking content about it. But, I think it should be said, too. One of the reasons I haven't really spoken up a lot about it after saying my piece previously about this is I just don't want to get stuck in the back and forth of what I see is going to happen. And, I'm going to say it bluntly right now. If you think Donald Trump is going to save you from this, you're fucking kidding yourself. You have about as much chance of being saved on social media from censorship by Donald Trump as that fucking wall does of going up. Understand that's a political strategy for the next election cycle. You think the Trump administration isn't aware that people are getting censored and hasn't been aware they've been getting censored for years now? Oh, they fucking know it. They're talking about it really, a little bit here and there right now because they're counting on you being pissed off about it because that's going to be the election strategy for 2020. Oh, you guys are getting censored. Yeah, too bad we didn't do shit about it. But vote for me and maybe I will next time. And of course, people on the left, they're so stupid they're going to fall for that too. Oh, well, ban more people. There's going to be some bullshit political machination between two different fucking groups. And we all get fucked because of it. It's a very dark day with the black pill being shoved up your ass. Mega Pete's blowing the fuck out. Oh, yeah, I hear angry squeaking as we speak. But I don't think Trump's going to really do shit about this. I think he's going to actually let it kind of ferment a little bit. Let it get a little bit worse. Make you a little angrier. So you go out there and vote. That's my fucking take on that. This all could have been prevented, guys. If you had just elected Sargon MEP and we got Donald Trump to tweet Gamergate 42, this never would have happened. But you just couldn't do it, could you? Now we're all going to be living in the gutter, selling each other fucking Teespring t-shirts as we dumpster dive for our next meal. That's our future. Sargon was going to save us, and we forsook him. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a cigarette here. Having a bit of a think. Wasn't really planning on covering this, but I saw a bunch of people getting their channels fucking yanked away, and it's gonna ramp up. It's gonna ramp up like it did with every other program and implementation of whatever, where it's 100 people today, 1,000 people tomorrow, 10,000 a month from now. It's just all these fucking people getting taken down. I don't know where they're gonna go. You can't really go to Twitch. What are you gonna talk about on Twitch TV? They're gonna fucking ban your ass right away. You could go to BitChute, but they can't live stream. You could go to DLive, but are they gonna survive? I have no idea. I mean, PewDiePie went over there to live stream. Initially brought in, 125,000 people on his first stream? On his most recent, he had 50,000. If you go look at DLive right now, they have less of an audience actively watching people than fucking Stream Me did. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Dark day. A dark day for us all. I'm gonna read me these fucking super chats. Make this fucking money while I still can. Oh, I got $100 from Joshua Moon. I'm already on the list. So let me say what everyone is thinking. One day they will unperson someone who will physically unperson as many of them. So he can in kind. Look at how badly Mumkey et al. Are affected. It's coming soon. Have a nice stream, Jim. Yeah, Mumkey got fucked right off the platform, and then kind of driven into his own corner of the internet. It happens everywhere. All these people getting deplatformed, all these people getting depersoned, all demonetized. Why are credit card companies and banks getting involved in this? Why the fuck does MasterCard have a say about what kind of stupid jokes I tell on the internet? How absurd is that to you? I want you to think of how fucked up that is. MasterCard. It's a fucking credit card company. Why do they have any say over the knock-knock jokes I tell on YouTube? Why the fuck is Wells Fargo taking away people's bank accounts because they want to walk around with a squeaky toy and say MAGA? Who the fuck are these organizations to wield that kind of power? What are you going to do? You're going to go to the alternative? You got very few choices. People are lucky Dick Masterson started his own goddamn Patreon alternative. Otherwise, a lot of people would be fucked. Hey, what happened to Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson? Did they get too busy washing their penis to make that Patreon alternative they told everybody they were going to do? They didn't mind moving off half the people using Patreon off-site and then not building any alternative to it. But who did? Dick Masterson started his own fucking site to try to do it. Every competitor that creates a site to try to fight back against this inevitably gets fucked. I mean, even BitChute, if I remember right, had pressure applied to them from payment processors. Gab has pressure applied to them from the people that they're renting servers from. Even Patreon, the one everybody thinks is lib shit central, half the decisions they make are forced on them by financial institutions that for whatever reason have decided they get to tell you what you can and can't say on the internet. Fucking MasterCard and Visa and these banks. Why the fuck do they have any say in any of that? You should be apolitical and amoral. You exist to exchange currency, to transfer it into and out of accounts. Nobody cares what your fucking politics are. Shut your fucking mouth and change my money, moneylender. What are you doing? Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm living in... I just don't even know anymore. I don't know. It feels like the world's lost its fucking mind. I just want my internet back. Or at least to enjoy as much of it as I can before it completely goes tits up. I'm sorry, Chad. I know this is ranty, isn't it? I'm ranting a lot, but what are you going to do?